Bonjour, s'il vous plaît, croissant, baguette. If you couldn't tell, this Kate's Notes episode is about the Paris apartment, which actually takes place in Paris, France, not Paris, Virginia, like I predicted. I'm feeling like really European right now with my little turtleneck, and I have a little fancy glass. So let's get into it. But first, let's review what I said when I judged this book by its cover. So by the title, we know that it takes place in Paris, Virginia. Paris, Virginia. It's a tiny, tiny town. So I think what we're seeing is big city girl trying to escape the hustle and bustle of her career in lobbying, I don't know, and moves into this little Airbnb, but then witnesses something horrific. But then everybody around her, such a small town, everybody's acting very suspicious. So obviously I was wrong. It's Paris, France, not Paris, Virginia, which in my defense, it's a very easy mistake to make. Very common mix-up. And there aren't suspicious townsfolk, but we are going to see that there are suspicious inhabitants of this apartment building where our protagonist, Jess, is traveling to stay with her half-brother, Ben. So Jess and Ben were half-siblings and both ended up in foster care. And Ben, probably because he's a man, got the better end of the stick and went off with a wealthy family and then used his money and connections and privilege to finagle a stay in this very fancy apartment building in obviously a very fancy city. Jess got the short end of the stick and trouble seems to find her, and so she is running from that trouble, trying to elude it for the time being, and she's thinking she can just scooch into her, stay with her half-brother Ben and until it all blows over. And also she doesn't have any money, so she's like, help me, I'm poor. But then she shows up and her brother is missing. Poof, scattered to the wind. Where is he? Well, that's the whole point of the book. So Jess immediately knows something is wrong when she shows up in the middle of the night and he's not there, and his wallet is there and his keys are there and he's not answering his phone, and what's going on? And it doesn't help that all the other inhabitants of this building are acting very sus and also rude. But the rude part might be just because they're French, you know what I mean? So who else do we have? We've got this lady Sophie, who's a little older. She's giving cougar. And we've got this other guy, Anton, seems kind of like a you-know-what, and he's married, and his wife's about to leave him because he's a POS. And then we have a very young girl nicknamed Mimi and her roommate, and they're just two young girls living the dream. And then we have Nick Miller, who was college buddies with Ben, so that's why Ben was there in the first place. And if you're thinking, ooh, Nick Miller and Jess, hey girl, what you doing? It doesn't have anything to do with New Girl, so don't get your hopes up about that like I did. So Jess is basically racing against the clock, trying to figure out what happened to Ben before she gets taken too. You know what I mean? Taken. One time I went to Paris, and it was a very dicey situation for me where I was on a train and this girl was trying to get me to come with her. So who knows what could have happened. But anyway, it is not nearly as awful as the movie Taken, but it is still a very good read, very suspenseful, very much keeps you guessing. Like all of Lucey Foley books, everybody's suspicious, okay? Everyone's suspicious. Everybody has something to hide. They're all connected to it somehow, one way or the other. Maybe they didn't actually commit the crime, but they've done something. And it's such a quick read. So yes, you should read it. I finished this less than 24 hours, okay? You can do it too. I have two small children, so if I can do it, you can do it. I believe in you, okay? So that's it for this one, and tune in next time for another episode, probably another Lucey Foley book. I've got The Hunting Party that we've got to go over. So anyway, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Bye! Or should I say au revoir? That means goodbye.